Welcome back to Beyond the Brand, a podcast by not just marketing cell of NMIMS, where we go beyond job titles and understand what does it take to build a career in marketing. Today's episode is a special one because we have with us someone who has lived the same MBA life as most of us listening to this podcast has done. The same classes, the case competitions, the clubs, the confusion, all of it. Joining us today is Keshav Lahoti, an NMIMS alumni, a former NJMer, a multiple times case competition winner, Dean's List holder, and currently area manager at Asian Paints. Instead of going through your LinkedIn profile, I would directly like to understand what made you transition from your B school classroom corridor to meeting boardrooms, and how did you reach the position where you are currently?
So when I started my MBA, I was not like really looking for this kind of placement. So was got into college, just wanted to explore different things, but had that idea that I want to get into sales because I previously had a background of sales. Then eventually got into AP through SIPs, had a PPO, then eventually married to the company. And post that, like I haven't really had the management training stint. It was just for a very brief point of time. But then after that, I posted as area manager. So I think the feeling is a bit mixed because very early on you get a lot of responsibilities. But at the same time, it's fun as well as thrill because sales is something that I relate more of thrill with. So yeah.
So when you first initially joined NMIMS, were you always clear that you wanted to join marketing, or were you exploring or looking for other options like finance operations as well?
So I was very clear that I wanted to get into sales, specifically sales, not
Okay.
marketing as well. So that was very clear in my mind before entering MBA. But which particular, let's say, industry, FMCG, FMCD, or any different industry, that I was not sure of. But I was very sure that I wanted to get into sales.
Right. So when I saw your profile, I saw you had done a mix of roles like market research, consumer insight, sales. So like you said, your sales being your first preferred or your most interested role. So did you also enjoy other roles like market insights or consumer insights? How was your experience working at different roles?
So the consumer insights was one with HUL. So I worked with on one of their soaps. So it was an interesting project. So we were doing a project for South India. So at that particular point of time, so NGM used to offer corporate projects. So the consumer insight one was with HUL. So there I felt ki it was a fantastic project. I think we got to learn a lot of things. So I think if you look at my specifically at that particular time, the project was about soaps and the insight that we got, like if you have heard of Mysore sandal, so the insight that we got that why people use Mysore sandal, it's just because of name Mysore sandal.
Okay.
So it was very surprising at that particular point of time ki people can get influenced by the name of a soap. So
Right.
usually what we do is that we specify features or let's say who's the brand ambassador and all these things. But so these certain type of insights, it was more of a disguised market research that we have done. So I did two corporate projects with HUL, which was offered by NGM only at that point of time, and then I think another one or two corporate projects that were offered through the college. So it was more about exploring different things, but eventually I had a clear idea that I wanted to get into sales.
So, like you mentioned, you wanted to get into sales, and so I think you had a mix of experience of going on ground and doing sales, whereas sitting in the office and analyzing the data
Correct.
and understanding consumer perspective. So, do you think that both of these are actually important for a marketing role, or like which one excites you more and why?
So if you look at your market research, so if you don't do a data-backed market research, it's of no use. So I think both the things are really important. But early in the career, I feel that going in the market, it really helps because a lot of time what happens is that you have a certain idea, but you don't know whether you can execute it or whether it is like can be executed by the on-ground team. So it is really important that you do work on the ground and understand what are the challenges that are being faced on ground. So I feel that the on-ground part will be more important, but again with data backing. Like for example, if you are going in a particular market, you should know what exactly our market share is, what kind of products are being sold in that particular market. So all these things, like you kind of build a hypothesis before you get into that market. So it kind of helps you validate that particular hypothesis when you do your market visits. So it can be that thing that whatever hypothesis you had, it may not be true. But once you analyze the data, you get certain insights and you try to validate that in your market.
Fair. So, like you mentioned, your experience with HUL, I wanted to understand whether in your sales, in your SIP at Asian Paints, was there any instance that made you realize that, oh, that was not expected on sales ground, and when you came to the office, you realized that, okay, this is something which we really did not expect?
So my project at Asian Paints, the summer internship project, so it was about a category wood finishes. So wood finishes as a category is really challenging. It is not as simple as paints. And the project duration was close to 50 days, and uh, the cities that were assigned to me, close to 7 to 8 cities. So it was entire rest of Maharashtra at that point of time.
In 2 months period.
In 50, like if you
Okay, yeah, I will.
do count mid review, end review, and your introductory calls, then it's just 45 to 50 days. So I still remember Pune, Solapur, Akola, then you have Nagpur, all those cities which are a part of rest of Maharashtra. So when I first got the project, I asked my guide, basically manager. So what I'm supposed to do with it is like you have to cover all the cities. We need insights by mid review so that you can implement in between your mid review and end review. So at that point of time, I thought, yeah, this is something not really possible, because understanding the category itself takes like 15 to 20 days, and then you have to get on the ground, take people's interviews, and get other insights, and then implement them. So I felt that was a really surprise for me in my SIP bit. Actually, they went ahead with executing the project. That was really good part of it, that I executed my project before my end review. So that was something I felt ki so for example, if you're in college, you don't really think that as a summer intern you will get to execute a project.
Right.
But that was something I felt that was different about AP. So I got to execute.
So you actually got the chance to lead the project.
Yeah, correct.
So you basically had the idea about the paint industry before going into SIP, or were you learning on the way while
learning on the way? Not really. So AP, I think during my time, I think it was one of the first companies that used to come on campus. So we were really excited about Asian Paints, but honestly, no one can get excited about knowing more about paints. So from that point of view, not had a lot of knowledge about paints as such.
So moving ahead, I would like to understand your MBA journey, including your journey at NJM and also your experience participating in case competitions to being a part of Dean's List as well.
Okay, so when I joined MBA, so I was really confused. So it was not like I have clear idea what exactly I want to do, apart from the thing that I wanted to get into sales. But the first month, I think it was very, very hectic. And I think it might be the same case with you as well.
I think it was the first 6 months in our case.
So I think, but in first month, I figured out like what all things I want to do. So I interacted with my batchmates, my seniors, my flatmates as well. So I got to know that 3 to 4 things. One was about a good placement. Second was about getting into good committees. Third was about having a good friend circle, the networking that you guys say, but it was more about the getting a good friend circle. And fourth was something to do on the academic side, because it is like last degree. And at the same time, I had an idea that I want to prioritize different things at different point of time. So it was like I want to do all the things, but I want to prioritize a certain thing at certain point of time. So for first 3 months, I think it was more about prepping for SIP. So I did a really good preparation for GDPI and everything. After my SIP was over, then I focused more on like creating those memories, going out with the friends, doing those trips. So after first year, at the same time I got into 2 to 3 committees. So was working in JC, was in NGM, was in IRPC, was in Rang Punch as well as that particular time. So really enjoyed that particular part. And eventually then SIP, the focus shifted towards PPO, that wanted to get into this Asian Paints and want to get that PPO. So then comes the second year. Then second year my focus shifted more towards the academic part of it. So first year I haven't really scored that well, but in second year I thought that this is the chance, I'm already placed. And also the case competition. So in the first year, I think the case competition that I focused were more of B school competitions, like
The
within
one hosted
NM
by
or
them.
let's say IM competitions. But in second year, I wanted to focus on corporate competitions. So, and I was also very clear that I want to do one or two. It's not like because it takes a lot of time for a particular case competition. So I was really aware that this is second year, this is the last academic year. So I want to chill as well. So in second year, partially for first two trims, I focused on ACADS as well as case competition. Then third trim again, the Goa trimester. So again, I chilled. So it was mixed thing. I think MBA. I think I planned that I want to get 3 to 4 things, and eventually got all of them by the end of it. So yeah.
So as you mentioned your case competition journey, I think you were the runner-up at ITC Indoro Bank as well. Can you brief us through how you approached the problem statement? Since you mentioned that you only focus on 2 to 3 case competition
Yeah.
and again being a part of the runners-up, we just wanted to understand how did you approach the problem statement?
So when we got the problem statement, so the first question I think as a group we asked like why this particular problem is there. So for example, most of the companies when they give case competition, they are live business problems that they are facing. So and why they are coming to B school for a solution, because the people who are working in companies, they themselves are MBAs, but why they are coming to B school. So we realize that it is for more of an innovative solution that they are looking for, something that is out of the box. Secondly, we connected with the people, the brand managers, the group brand managers as ITC. So we wanted to know like what exactly they want to execute. So sometimes what happens that you have a great idea, but if it is not executable, then they really don't shortlist you, or let's say don't give you a PPI or not. So the second thing was that. So eventually, when what we started with the hypothesis again that from our secondary research. Then we did our primary research basis that. The primary research again was more of a disguised research. It was disguised type of asking the question. It was not like simply if it was the ITCs, I think the case com was about the drinks, soda drinks and everything, the beverages industry. So it was not like directly asking people about this particular product, but it was more of a disguised type of research that we've done. Then eventually we collected all the insights. Then the solutions that we provided, it was backed by financial data, like and at what kind of investment that will you require and what will be the profit margins and everything. So basis that, and then entire execution media plan that was there. So again, so the idea I think behind any case competition is that you need to think a little out of the box. At the same time, you need to create a blueprint for the execution. So usually, I think you guys may not be aware of it. So when companies they kind of launch their case competitions, and when you guys submit your solutions to them, so most of them they don't read it for more than 5 to 10 minutes. So you guys think you guys have created 10 to 11 slides deck, and they are gonna read the entire stuff. It's not like that. So they just screen through it. So most of the times, what will be get highlighted? Your idea. What is the execution plan? So basis that they shortlist you.
Right.
So for that 5 to 10 minutes of attention span, it depends upon you like how you put your content in the entire PPT.
So it's more important.
That's more important, yeah.
Right. So as you mentioned that you have participated in a lot of B school case competitions in your first year. I wanted to understand what was the reason behind that, because people generally doesn't focus much on B school competitions and they focus on corporate competitions in general more.
If you look at it in first year, you don't have that much of time. You have pressure of placements, you have pressure of CADs. But the B school competition, they usually don't take more than 1 or 2 days to complete. Like the entire PPT and everything that can be done in 1 or 2 days. Second thing is that you get to figure out your team. So you can work, you can risk, you can work with different members, different friends, and you can eventually figure out like what, like you are a finance guy, you are a marketing guy, because eventually if you need a solid team for a case competition, you need people from finance as well as sales. So you get to know about people in your first year. Second thing is that I think you get good money. So people don't really focus on B school competition, but I think I minted close to 2 to 2.5 lakhs during my first year by doing the B school competitions. And eventually like the learning is good because eventually you get to present in front of a jury, and that's something that helps in your corporate case competition. So the first year preparation, it really helps you in second year to launch, to get into that corporate case com mode. So I feel it more of a prep for a corporate case com.
I think you had your strategy way before MBA learning. So now let's shift towards your workday at Asian Paints. Just can you just walk us through how your workday looks at being an area manager at Asian Paints?
So I will divide it in three parts. So the first is during first to fifth. The second is 25th to 30th, the sales month end, and the days that are in between.
Right.
So typical first to fifth, usually you plan what you're supposed to do in this particular month. There are different trade schemes that you design. There are agendas that a particular team have, the market activations and everything. The first 5 days usually into that, you have a meet with your team. We refer that as branch meet. So that first 5 days, it is more about what you're going to do in that month and how you're going to do it. Then 25th to 30th, so usually you have a lot of closers in month end. So you have schemes, you have different plans that are going on, there are loyalty schemes that are going on. So usually 26, 27, typically the month end starts and it ends on 30th. So during those days, it is really hectic. We start around 10, it closes around 9, 10, and on 30th, it is still 12. So, but in rest of the days, you get to do market from 5th to 25th. You can, so for example, I have various cities under me. I have Pune, Kolhapur, Latur, Solapur. So during 5th to 25th, usually dealer visits, contractor visits, architect visits. So it is more on that day to day.
So like most of the FMCG companies work in a similar way, I think. So like the sales month and the starting planning part.
Yeah, usually I feel like most of them work in this manner, but there are certain rules that are based out of HO. So usually you don't the account manager type of role, key account type manager of role. So usually you don't have that much of month end pressure and let's say start of the month thing. You just handle certain set of key accounts. So it is more of strategy. You might be meeting 1 or 2 clients per day, but let's say for example, if you're in an industry like paint, you might be visiting 5 to 6 dealers in a day. So that varies across companies, but overall the main thing is this.
Okay. So as we all know that the paint industry is transforming a lot with a lot of competitors getting in the field. So can you let us know your opinion on how the paint industry has evolved over the last 5 years and how does the future look like?
I think on competition part, I think paint industry, like it has always been a hyper competitive space. It is not like that the space has heated up right now. It has always been like that. There were companies like if you look at Sherwin-Williams, which is the biggest paint company in the world, it also entered India. There were companies, JSW, all these companies entered India way before. And it is not new phenomena for a company like Asian Paints. Like the industry is very hyper competitive. And if you look at the shift that I can see in last 5 years, that for example, let's say if you look at stakeholders that are involved, you have a dealer, you have a contractor, you have an architect, you have a consumer. So I think 5 years before, the ratio of influence that was there, I think it was 40% with dealer, 40% with contractor, and let's say 10% with architect and 10% with the end consumer. But right now, if you look at, I think the shift is happening towards the consumer side. So the ratio that you will see, it is more like 50 with contractor, 25 with the architect, 5 and 10 with the consumer. So the role of a dealer, although the dealer is really important, it is for AP, the dealer is the most important thing, but the shift is more happening towards the consumer side of things. That's why if you see that the company is investing a lot in experience stores, you will find Nilaya store in Bombay. There are beautiful home stores across country. So the shift is happening towards consumer side. But again, it is about balancing everything. And apart from that, I feel that another shift that is happening is that, so usually if you look at the value volume gap that is currently companies operating at, it is 7 to 8%, which means the products that has a low value, low cost. So they are getting sold more, but at the same time, premiumization also happening. So the products that are really premium, that are also getting sold. So which is a very strange thing, but it is happening in the industry, that the bottom of the pyramid goods as well as the premium products, both are getting sold at the same time. So two main things, the shift towards consumer and the bottom of pyramid and the premium products. So I feel there's in 5-6 years, this is what has happened to the industry.
Also, I think the home decor integration has happened in AP and a lot of other paint companies. So how is it actually been integrated in the company? Like, is there a more focus on home decor or like the focus is still mainly on the paints? and the whole experience of consumer?
I think the focus is on the entire decor spectrum. So if you look at earlier, we had a team that used to handle dealers, but right now we have a team that handle architects. There's a team that is focused on the painting services, which is getting done in the homes. So I think the focus is on the entire decor spectrum, and more, I think the company wants that. For example, if a contractor is coming to a dealer shop, he should be asking for Asian paints. The share of mind that we talk about, in then the same thing also with the consumer as well. When a consumer or architect is interacting, the idea is that whenever if it is paints, if it is decor product, the first thing that should come to their mind is Asian paints. So that's why if you look at a lot of partnerships that the brand has already done, if you look at, we've recently partnered with BCCI. So as a like a normal person, you might think, yeah, why a paint company is partnering with BCCI, what it has to do, how it is going to add to their revenue. But eventually, it is more about creating that share of mind in the consumers. So awareness part of it. So yeah.
So as we all know that a lot of competitions are coming up in paint industries like Vidopus, their JSW paints. So what is one thing that Asian Paints is offering differently from this company, which is still making Asian Paints the market leader of the industry?
I think one thing is in paint industry, if you look at it, it is very easy to create the first sales. It is very difficult to create the repeat demand. So if you see a lot of companies, they rely on discounting, but AP is not really into that space. Like we will give them more discounts. It is more about creating the long-term value. So it is more about creating the loyalty with the dealers or with the contractors, or let's say if it is about end consumers, then the type of finishes that we offer. So it is more about product innovation as well as the loyalty at a network level. So it is a combination of that. But the competition on the other end, if you see, it is more on the pricing war that is there. So which is I feel is very short term, because in paint industry, let's say it is not difficult to enter the market, but it is very difficult to sustain in the market. You may be able to create, let's say, first year sales, second year sales, but to do it year on year with the profits, it is really difficult. So
Yeah, that's right. So coming towards the end, I wanted to understand like what is the one piece of advice that you'd like to offer to MBA students who are joining FMCG or paint industry?
So I think initially, I think you get to interact a lot with people. So I think one thing is that you should be good with people. I'm not saying that you should be extrovert, but I think you should be good with people, because whether it is, so most of the people who will going to join FMCG, they will be joining as management trainee, and it is not like you guys right now might be thinking that you guys will be working on campaigns and different things, but it is not like that. Usually you have a 6 to 1 year management trainee stint, then you get posted as an area manager in a tier 2 city or tier 3 city. So then there you have to be good with people. You can't say कि ये 4 P's लगा देंगे and we will get to the solution. It is more about like resilience. I think doing the same things again. And initially, I think when you join these companies, you have a say team of 5 to 10 members. You know, all of them have spent more time than you in the company. So why should they listen to you? So the kind of rapport, the kind of respect that you have to build with them, it will only come if you are good with people. It won't come with the theoretical knowledge that you have from MBA. So I think that is the number one skill. Second, I feel I think some of the concepts that are taught in MBA, so we usually don't take the CATs seriously in MBA, but I think some of the concepts are relevant. I think some of the things that I studied still is in use, even it is if it is from finance, because sales, it is also about numbers. So I think be good with numbers, because let's say, for example, if you're designing any scheme, if you're calculating ROI of a dealer, or let's say at anyway, if you're launching a activation, then all boils down to numbers. So I think you should be good with numbers. So these two things, I would say. Yeah.
So one more question, like you mentioned that you have to deal with a lot of people on ground when you are on sales, when you join a company. So I believe most of them will be elders to the ones joining after MBA. So how do you actually deal with those people? Because you may have a position which is superior to them, but they have more experience than you.
So if I give my personal example, so I have a team of 14, and all of them are all elder than me. I'm the youngest. So I think the one thing that really helps is that you try to understand what exactly their point of view is. So for example, if sales is not happening in a particular market, you can't just directly go and say, yeah, you guys are not doing this work, you guys are not executing properly. You need to understand their point of view. like what is happening. Is it the demand the main reason? Is competition is the main reason? Also try to include them in the solutions that you are giving, in the guidance that you are giving. So they really value that. A type of thing, a type of solution that really make them valued. It really helps. So that helps you connect with them as well. So eventually things work out. Like if you give them respect, treat them with dignity, then eventually it happens.
Right, thanks for that advice. Also, one more question, like in the current industry, people generally keep on switching industry or companies in general. What would you suggest as being a MBA fresher? One should focus on stability or something like getting more experience with different industries.
It depends on your long-term goal. So from MBA, I think so usually the placements are something that are not in your hand. So your first job is usually like 50% of the times you get into a dream company, but like other 50% of the time you don't get into a dream company. So it depends. Let's say if you're in a wrong job, you might want to switch, but let's say it depends more on your long-term goals. For example, I want to be very good in sales and marketing. So I know that AP is a good company. I will get my basics right here, and also the leadership is really good. So from that point of view, I might want to stay in this company. But for you, let's say if you get into a FMCG, but you realize that in long term you want to be in FMCD. I think eventually you will be switching in 2 to 3 years, and just switching for growth, I think that is not correct. It is more about your long term goals, whether the switch is aligned with that or not. So it matters. Well, how you switch and when you switch also matters. So it depends on your long term goals as well as the company that you are part with.
So, would you personally recommend someone working in FMCG or FMCD?
Why not? Matlab, for example, let's say if you want to start your business as well, you should work in FMCG because you get to do all those things that you will be doing in a business. You have a team, you are handling the sales part of it, you are handling the finance part of it, plus you get to interact with a lot of people, and you get a lot of day-to-day challenges. So for example, sales is very practical. No textbook can tell you ki this is the challenge that you're gonna face and this is the solution that you can give. It is very very challenging from that point of view because the volatility is very high in sales. So I feel ki FMCG, I think it is the go-to industry even if you want to start a business. So from that point of view, I think yeah, you should work in FMCG.
So let's end this discussion with one last rapid fire round. Your favorite marketing campaign?
Favorite marketing campaign? It's not from a company, but I think Piyush Pandey's 2014 campaign for BJP, Ab Ki Baar Modi Sarkar. I think that was really great hit. So,
Data or gut? What would you trust?
gut.
Gut. One MBA subject that you would gladly have skipped during your MBA journey?
I think we had a subject called OMBD. I still don't remember the full form, but I think that was very, very horrible. At that time, I think I scored 16 out of 60 or 17 out of 40. No, 60.
Passing marks were 16 out of 40.
Yeah. So I think I scored 16 or 17.
Fair. Your experience at AP in one word?
Exciting.
Nice. Your favorite enjoy memory?
I think it was the people that I worked with. I think the JC was really good. I think made a lot of friends. So it was more about people.
Fair. And one last question, your favorite Asian paint shade that you actually like?
Asian paints?
Shade of color.
Morning Glory. I think you might not have heard of but Morning Glory.
Morning Glory.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, Keshav, for being a part of this podcast. The session was really very insightful, and I'm sure it will help a lot of people who are thinking to join FMCG industry. And it was in general very insightful to know about the paint industry and the market conditions in general. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. All the best.